Jackeline here. In today's video, I'm bringing you my top 10 fall eyeshadow palettes. But before we get started, and if you're new here, I hope that you will consider and subscribe to my channel, ring that post notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads, and come and follow me on my Instagram. And now, if you want to know what are those 10 palettes that I will recommend for you to use them during the fall season, then just keep on watching. You know, my friends, that I'm a summer baby, that I love summer so much, but the reality of things is that we are already into fall. And lately here on my channel, I have been reviewing a lot of holiday collections from Charlotte Tilbury, Chanel, Dior, Tom Ford, and there's much more to come. But I said, you know what, we haven't even, got into mid-October, or, like we haven't even passed Halloween. And it seems like we're living all up to Christmas right now, and I feel like, you know what, we need to give some love to our fall season and just share with all of you, my friends, what are those 10 eyeshadow palettes, or 12, sorry. I think they are 10. I just have a couple that I just want to mention, but anyhow, I just want to really showcase those eyeshadow palettes that to me they scream fall. So let's get it started right here. And this one is a little one but a mighty one. It is from Victoria Beckham, and I think this screams fall completely. This one right here is the one in Tweed. I mean, tell me if this is not fall in a palette. You have this beautiful red brick right here, then this kind of like plummy shade, then this deep kind of chocolate brown, and then this, I mean, it's not even a nude shade, it's just, I mean, it's a beautiful brown tone that is just so gorgeous. Let me just show to you. Oh, this is just so beautiful. I mean, this reminds me to the leaves when they are starting turning brown, and you can still see some red on them. And I mean, that unexpected purpley tone, eggplant tone right there, I think is just so gorgeous. Not only it screams fall to me, but I think it's just a perfect like on-the-go palette. It's something that there's not too much fuss about it. Most of these eyeshadows right here, they are mattes. This one right here has a little bit of golden sparkle, same thing with the eggplant one, but if you see on the swatches right here, it's not that you have not even a satin shade. I mean, the sparkles are there, but they are just so minimal. And if you just love to wear just matte eyeshadows, or perhaps you have, I don't know, a cream eyeshadow to go over top, I think this is a perfect tiny but mighty companion palette. I just love it. And talking about Victoria Beckham, she just came out with lipsticks. I'm so excited. I have made my purchase already, so I don't know when they are coming. Perhaps you will see it before this video or after this video, but yeah, I will be posting some swatches right there. I'm super excited for that. The next palette right here is by Tom Ford, and this is actually an eye and face palette. It came out this year and I did a full-on review. This is the Shade and Illuminate Face and Eyes palette in Red Hardness. I mean, same thing, those orange, reddish, these like very deep eggplant shade right here, that they just talk about fall. I mean, like, what else can talk about fall but those colors? That they are just so rich. So there, and actually, in fact, I have a little bit of the Victoria Beckham eyeshadow on my eyelid, and then I put a little bit of this one on my outer V, and then on my lower lash line I apply this shade right here, and it just gives that very deep look from fall that is just very nice and warming, but at the same time is a little bit on the intense side. But here you go. This is why I decided to put another palette right here, because I know this is a face and eye palette and it's not a full eyeshadow palette, and it may not work. I mean, the highlighter and the bronzer may not work for everybody. So I said, you know what other shades that they really talk about fall? And I think berries, like deep berry tones. And I mean, here we go, Tom Ford and Honeymoon. I mean, this is a very, this is a very wearable palette. I like palettes that are small. I do have large palettes, but I do like, like 4-pound palettes, 9-pound palettes, 6-pound palettes, because they are a little bit easier, like, to create a look right away. And I think this one by Tom Ford is gorgeous too. I mean, look at that. with those very deep reddish burgundy red. I mean, it reminds me, I mean, you know that I cater events. I'm a caterer and I'm also an event planner, and like when I go to a wedding in October, I live by an area that there's a lot of vineyards. I just see, you know, the grapes so beautiful, so intense, and then in contrast with the leaves. I mean, like, so these kind of like berry wine tones, they are just so up my alley. So let me show it to you. And if you don't know about the wet and dry formula from Tom Ford, it's just amazing. Like, they have already a beautiful intensity, but then if you wet them, they are just like extraordinary. So here you go. You see, you can have something very like daytime look, still warm, and then deepen it out a little bit with that deeper shade right there. And then let me show you this one right here so you can see in contrast. And by the way, I do have reviews for these palettes. The one from Honeymoon, I think I reviewed it last year, but then the Red Harness, that face palette, I reviewed it this year as soon as it came out. You can see how, like, I mean, they are close a little, but they have, I mean, the one in Red Harness, it has this copper tone right there. I mean, everything that is copper, like that intense orange shade that has a little bit of golden in it, oh, they're just exquisite. And talking about a little bit onto those berry tones, onto, you know, those wine colors, I think this eyeshadow palette from Chanel, this is from their fall collection, is Candeur et Provocation. I mean, berry tones again, this wine tone right here. I know some people are like afraid to use red shades like this, but this is such a well done palette that it doesn't make you look like sick. It's actually kind of more like very like pinky shade, and then you have this deeper tone, and then you have this, you know, very neutral brown. I mean, this is just so lovely. To me, this palette can be like used for date or night, because the pigmentation is there, but it's nothing that it would just make you look like, wow, this is too much. You know what I mean? So let me just show it to you. Look at those berry tones. Isn't this gorgeous? I know. I mean, so nice and warm. And then going with a palette that I think gives you not only the warm shades of fall, but also a little bit more of those green tones, earthy tones too. And I'm talking about no other than Mother, Pat McGrath, and her Midnight Sun palette. I think this palette screams fall to the rooftop. I mean, tell me if this is not fall to you. I mean, what else than fall than this? I mean, you have this very deep green, this brick red right here, this very intense, cool tone brown that is just amazing. And then you have this more warm tone brown. I mean, incredible. Then the purple, and then this copper shade right here is amazing. I have it actually on my eyes. I have a little bit of this and a little bit of this on my eyes. Oh my. This is exquisite. Just so beautiful, and truly screams fall to me. I don't know, like the purple tones, I mean, absolutely. Let me just show it to you. Okay, so this is the green shade. It's more like an army green. Then this is the copper shade right here. And then we have a purple tone right there. Look at that. Okay, what else? Okay, let me just show you this one right here. So you can get a kind of like a fall vibe right here. I mean, tell me if that's not a fall to you. This is just fall in a palette, and I don't see a lot of people recommending this palette for fall time. So I said, you know what? I think people are forgetting. I mean, I know Pat McGrath is expensive, but many of you may have it already on your collection, and I think it's time to take it out from the drawer and just, you know, put yourself to use it, because it's such a beautiful palette. And then let's talk about another palette that it just have also, I mean, so much fall vibes right here. I'm talking about VCR, and this is the Dark Edit palette. So let me just show to you. This is another mighty palette. I mean, this has only 12 eyeshadows, but tell me if this is not fall to you. I mean, you have here your terracotta tones, you have a little bit of those wine tones, you have an intense purple, then you have these, it looks black on the palette, but it's actually a very deep navy kind of blue. And then the green shades, I mean, these two greens right here, then these golden tones. I mean, when I think about fall, I also think about when you go, you know, like pumpkin patch, but there's also the different corns in there. I mean, like, I just feel all the vibes with these. I mean, like, look at these shades right here. Oh my goodness, let's see. This plum color, oh, look at that. Look at this right here. Isn't this beautiful? And I love the combination you have here. Plenty of matte shades, which I think sometimes, I know I'm wearing something that have, you know, more luminosity, but I feel sometimes for fall also having an all matte look is kind of fun. And then if you want to have a pop of metallic or shimmer shades, I mean, you have these shades right here to give that little bit of pop of luminosity, but you can wear the matte shades in the morning and even do like a very intense look. And I think that's what this palette gives to you, a more of like an intense, impactful look. So beautiful. And BCR eyeshadows, they are just super blendable and they just have so much pigmentation. They are truly beautiful. And then into Natasha Denona. So I do have two Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes here, but I think the one that really tells me, okay, this is 100% fall is the Metropolis palette. And you know that this palette right here has been the love of my life for a long time until another palette came. But it's just the formula of this palette. I mean, like, look at this. You have all the greens. You have a lot of like red tones, terracotta tones, browns, I mean bronzy tones. You have everything right here for a beautiful fall look. I mean, like, look at this right here. And this eyeshadow is her cream to powder formulation that is just, I mean, out of this world. Look at that. See right there? I mean, so gorgeous. And I mean, you in this palette right here, what I like too is that you also have some kind of like, I mean, it's still in the warm tones, but a little bit more neutral shades. Like if you want something very simple and not go too much into like very warm tones, you have a combination of different formulas. Not only the cream to powder formula, but you have her shimmer shades, her duochrome. Look at this one right here. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but this one has a chip of green and then gold and then a little bit of like a warm undertone. I mean, this is just amazing. This is an excellent palette. To me, one of her best palettes. Like this last year was, to me, her best launch. And then a runner-up for the Metropolis palette is this bronze palette. So I know for bronze palette, you may think, hey, you know what, that's maybe like a little bit too summertime. I don't think so. I think yes, it can be a really awesome summertime type of palette, but at the same time it's a palette that transitions really well into the fall because it has, I mean, it's full of warm tones, again reddish tones, those deep copper tones, but you still have some gold in here, and then you have these beautiful like plummy shades that they are just amazing. In fact, I do have a series here on my channel where I actually create eyeshadow palettes based on existing shades of an X brand, and I created a mini bronze palette, and I mean, these shades right here are also completely fall. I mean, we're talking about, if you live in New England, I think you will agree with me to see those purple tones in an eyeshadow palette, because those eggplant purpley tones really give that extra dimension to the eyes that is just, I don't know, mesmerizing. And like I said, this is a very beautiful transitional type of palette. I thought to include it because I said, you know, maybe not a lot of people would like to go with a Metropolis palette, or they may not have it in the collection, and I think this one here is one of her recent ones. I know her recent one is going to be the Zendo palette. I may have reviewed it already, but I'm recording today. I don't know. If you are a content creator, you know what I mean. We try to record as many videos as possible one day, and then we schedule it afterwards. Okay, friends, and then one palette that I just recently reviewed is from Huda Beauty. She just launched 3 of these palettes, and I did actually a fall look using this palette right here. But what else could we scream fall than some beautiful khaki colors? I'm not too crazy about greens, but this is just so well done. You have a green shade right here. You have these golden tones with a green undertone. Like this one is an antique gold, like a very, very deep gold with a green undertone. This one right here is actually a taupe, kind of like a duochrome. I think the color combination right here with this unexpected kind of like nude pinky tone, I think it's just perfect. It just makes it of a very wearable but yet fall vibe palette. I mean, it's just so gorgeous. Look at this shade right here. Sorry, there you go. See that golden green right there? Thumbs up. It's so good. It's so good. And then a palette that is just, oh, this palette is incredible. The color story, the brand who made it, I mean, like, they have one of the best eyeshadow formulas in the market. I mean, like, these can be luxury, to be honest with you. I'm talking about a Tiny Marvels palette. This was a collaboration between Sydney Grace and my dear friend Mel Thompson here in YouTube. I mean, hello fall, I'm here. I know you have these shades right here, more like a springtime. But if you cover these shades, I mean, like, these shades can just serve as a base for you. But then overall, this palette right here, look at these shades right here. Aren't these fall? I'm like, this whole thing right here is fall time. I'm not crazy about greens, but this green, when I saw this green, I'm like, I wanna use this green. Give me that green to me, please. And then mauve tones, I think they're just superb. I mean, look at this. Look at this. The color story of this is just extraordinary. I mean, like, this can take you from a spring all year round. I love these shades right here, the deepest, like I said, like, you know, a good glass of wine when it's grape harvest time. This is what it reminds me of. And then this duochrome shade right here, oh my gosh. I mean, to me, this palette right here deserves all the hype of the world. And if you haven't got it, you know, and if it's still on pre-order, go ahead and order it, because this is just stunning. So I know I already hit my 10 eyeshadow palettes, but like the bronze palette, I thought, okay, that could be a runner-up for the Metropolis palette. And then from the Tom Ford, the Red Harness face and eyeshadow palette, I thought, okay, well, that's a face palette too, so let's give another one. So I said, you know, might as well, let's just give 2 other ones that I think, you know, you should consider for this season. Is Too Faced and the Pumpkin Spice eyeshadow palette. And I think this is definitely a really gorgeous, beautiful fall palette. I mean, this shade, I'm just enamored about this shade. It's a very deep, like, mustard orange shade that is actually hard to find. It actually kind of looks as my shirt, right? I did a fall look with this palette and it just turned out so beautiful. I mean, and then this green tone right here, then you have this deep purple tone. I mean, just so beautiful. There's so much to get from here. Yeah, let me just show you those very kind of like unique shades to the palette. Then we have this kind of magenta type of shade. There you go. I mean, like, this is total warmth. I mean, again, I just keep thinking about those vines, you know, the grapes, the leaves from the trees, and how everything looks like, even how the sun sets during fall time is so different. And I think this just gives you a great variety. I know some people are upset, oh, this is not too much pumpkin, you know, but I just like that they bring some type of variety, yet it's still feeling fall vibes, because at the end, that's, I think, what Too Faced is trying to do, a fall type of palette, something that is up to the season, that is called Pumpkin Spice. I mean, you know, it can be taken from there, but anyhow, I just really like it. Okay, and then the last palette that I wanted to mention is by Charlotte Tilbury, and it's one of her quads, and these are right here. It is in Mesmerizing Maroons. I think, again, those red deep shades, I mean, very alike to, say, the Tom Ford Honeymoon, but it has a little bit of lighter tones too. I mean, this is just beautiful formulation from Charlotte Tilbury. I mean, this is just so lovely. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't it so beautiful? Yeah. And with this palette right here, I think I completed my 10 top fall palettes or 12-inch palettes right here. I hope it actually serves you if you perhaps have already these palettes and you've forgotten about them, or just like, you know, because right now we are just so bombarded with so many releases. I mean, it's all the time, but mostly right now with the holiday season. You know, I hope this brings you a little bit of a refresher, and I would love to hear from you. What are those eyeshadow palettes that are actually the ones that scream fall to you, that you think, hey, you know what, remember this palette, this is a good palette? Because there are so many out there. I would also love to do perhaps like a lipstick, you know, fall lipstick recommendation, my 5 top lipsticks. Let me know if you want to see a video like that. And while you're at it, and if you haven't done so yet, I hope that you will consider and subscribe to my channel, ring that post notification bell, because believe me, you don't want to miss any of my uploads, because here on this channel you will find great content and I upload very often. Also, I would greatly appreciate if you can come and follow me on my Instagram, and we can stay connected that way, so you can see what is new and upcoming, close up of the products that I'm reviewing and whatnot. If you like this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, also share with family and friends, and until the next time, I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye bye.